I'm going to show you guys what I'm working on today. It is a super old drawing that I've gone back to a few times, and yeah, I've just gotten bored of it, I guess you could say. So this is going to be the final time I'm going to finish it this round, hopefully today or tomorrow. It is a different medium from what I've shown so far. So this will be for Copic markers. These are the Copic sketch markers, as well as the Prismacolor pencil crayons. So for all my colored portraits, the drawings, that's what I use. I use that combo, so the markers, as well as the pencil crayons on top. So it's a great way to layer it. You get really good depth, good saturation. I find it's a perfect combo in my opinion. Ever since I found out about it, it's my go-to when I do colored portraits, so those two. So I'll show you how I use them, some great tips, and some things to watch out for when I use them. I'll sketch it out in pencil first lightly, and then once I'm confident in the underdrawing, so to speak, I will lightly erase it even more, because if you go over pencil with the Copic marker, that pencil is never going to go away. It will never erase. That is there forever. So if you're doing an area that is super light in the color, that pencil is just going to be super noticeable underneath, and yes, you do not want that. Yeah. So let's get started. So what I'm doing now is I have this little booklet from Copic, which is awesome. So as you collect all your markers, you can fill in the swatches. So I look at my reference photo and I try to match which best suits that color. And then I will search through what I have, and I will find it, and I'll test it out. So let's try these. Now you always want to test these out, because if you haven't used them in a while, what I've had happen, say if I was just to open this and go right into the drawing, it may be super wet, meaning all the ink has pooled, and when you touch it down to use it, it's gonna leak out everywhere. So I've had that happen when I've used it, and it just pools and just, yeah, you get the picture. So you want to have a scrap piece of paper. Give it a good test before. Yep, seems to be good. Okay, this one's okay, but it's definitely more wet, so you can keep that in mind when you're using it. I can tell this one is super dark, so this one might be a problem. Yeah, I may not use that one. You can't just keep using it until it starts to run out, but it's really kind of a waste of ink. Another thing about these books, which is awesome, and how Copic has set up their markers, is they group them by like a color family. So I just picked these three, but these three actually go together, so they're almost the darker versions of each other. So that's super handy if you're working on something like, for instance, his tank here. it is purple, but there's different shades of purple. And so this works out perfect. Kind of eliminates some of the guessing you might do when you're having to pick colors. And so they group them by color family, so BV, the blue, violet. When you use the brush tip, it's more precise, but you'll get a darker value initially. So if you're a bit weary using the marker and you're worried you might put too much color down, if you use the chisel tip, it'll be a lighter touch, so you can build up those colors a lot easier and you don't have to be as afraid. For example, use the brush tip. You're working on a section. Let's try here. Okay, you can build it, it gets pretty dark. But if I just want to quickly fill in an area and I don't want it to be too dark, you can take chisel and just lightly cover it. So you can see, do it here too. See how light that is? Versus if I just, it's a big difference, so keep that in mind when you're doing your drawings. Chisel, less intimidating. You can build it up if you're a bit more weary. Brush tip, if you're confident, just go right in. So sometimes when I'm working on portraits, I group together ones that I've been using. That way I'm not having to rifle through these. But these, I don't think have any. Oop, no, here's a purple. So yeah, I'll go through the purples and just try to pull some that match. Test out your color. So you want to do a light amount of pressure, and then do a dark, lot of pressure, so you can see the variance between that one, because you may not need as many of these as you think. So you want to use it light. So on the inside edge you can always push out. If you do it too far out, you can't bring it back in. So that's why this looks a little wonky, because I know this is the spot I need to work on. So slowly bring it out. had an idea for the background. I really like the album art for Use Your Illusion. There's disc 1 and disc 2. I thought mixing them on each side would be sick, so I'm gonna have that in the background. I'm gonna split it, both colors to make it pop. And they have it going this way, but Guns N' Roses is gonna be covered here, so I'm gonna flip that and do Guns N' Roses because everyone's gonna know it's Use Your Illusion. So if Use Your Illusion, the end part is blocked from it being down here, that's fine. I just want the Guns N' Roses to show. So yesterday I worked on that drawing for about 7 hours. Took a break because my hand was cramping. I'm gonna get back to it today. Pretty much finished him. Now I'm gonna work on the background. I got the layout last night, so I'm gonna set all this up again, go back in. So again, I'm gonna be using the Copic markers and the Prismacolor pencils, and also I have the Micron, the Micron fine liners that I gotta use to outline it. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, so right now I got that little part done. You can see this is my reference here. So my idea to split it down the middle. So this side will be Use Your Illusion to the blue. So right now I'm working on that half. I gotta figure out which colors. I gotta color match. So that's where I'm at. Right now I need to go against this black. You want to be super careful to not touch the black because it's going to pull that black in and you can't undo that. So be super careful when you're working with light colors against black. When it's wet, it's just going to pull it in and ruin it. So I'm gonna do the dark blue where it's white right now. The problem is this is a pretty wet marker, so obviously I don't want it to bleed out and ruin all this work I've done. So something you can do, just get like a paper towel, tissue, something, and you dab it and you can see how much it absorbs. And to me it doesn't really matter that I'm losing all this ink, because this is the color I need, so I have no choice. So you can just do that for a little bit. Just make sure it's not, it'll literally be glistening when it's really wet, so just dab it so you got some dry patches and in between you using it.